Please be seated if you're still standing. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sarah Lehman, Professor of Modern Languages and Literatures and Interim Associate Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences of Fordham University. Today I will serve as the Master of Ceremonies for the GSAS presentation of Diplomas. Therefore, on this, the 21st day of May, in the year of our Lord 2022, it is my great pleasure to declare this ceremony officially in session. On behalf of the Dean and of the faculty, as well as the entire Fordham community, I welcome you, degree recipients, family members, friends, faculty, honored guests, and current students to this special celebration. I would like to begin by sharing 3 lessons that I have learned in my short time as Interim Associate Dean in GSAS. Lessons that I hope will help you as you move into your careers in academia, research, health, education, and beyond. Now, I've only been in this position with GSAS for 5 months, and these are not lessons that I didn't know before, but they're perhaps truths that I took for granted. So I want to raise some awareness today with that these little things that I'm about to talk about sometimes affect others more than we think. The first lesson is listening matters. Listening matters. Sometimes a student, a colleague, a friend just needs to be heard. Maybe they have not felt attended to in their family setting or in their office or in a relationship. Maybe they've needed to relate a trauma or a sorrow that they suffered to someone. Perhaps they don't feel they have the same voice as others in the classroom sometimes, or in their apartment, or at Thanksgiving around the dinner table. Sometimes all someone needs is an attentive ear, so listening matters. The second lesson is context matters. I've learned in this job to take a breath and find out the story behind an email or an issue or a request before responding. Sometimes I may think I already know the answer, or I may know that I already know the answer, but taking a moment to learn the historical or personal or political context of a question allows me to answer more fully or more prudently. So take that breath and that moment to learn before answering or judging, because context matters. And third, language matters. Now, as a member of the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures, I knew that language mattered, but working with all of you in GSAS, I have learned even more about the power of language, naming, and identity markers to include or to exclude, to create community or to divide, to empower or to silence. I've learned how deeply personal language around identity is, and how we as a community must mindfully navigate our shared language and our diverse identities to move into our future together. Language most certainly does matter. So as Father McShane likes to say, and you may have just heard him say it a little while back, you are now forever a part of the Fordham family, and so you will be part of Fordham's future. I'm honored to be navigating that together with you, with our shared awareness that listening matters, that context matters, and that language matters. Now, all three of these lessons that I've mentioned also showed up recently in the Twitter feed of our very special faculty guest today, Dr. Monica Rivera Mint. Just a few weeks back, at the National Hispanic Medical Association Conference, attendees came away from hearing Dr. Rivera Mint's remarks with the very same lessons and tweeted about them. So even if you didn't believe me when I said them, now you know that these lessons are true because they're on Twitter. We are thrilled to have Dr. Rivera Mint here today to speak to us, a real superstar professor here at Fordham and in her field. She is president of the Hispanic Neuropsychological Society, a professor of psychology here with a joint appointment in neurology at Mount Sinai, and a board-certified neuropsychologist. She works at the intersection of cultural neuroscience, neuropsychology, and health disparities, utilizing a transdisciplinary, community-based approach to examine issues of resilience, cognition, and brain health disparities in persons of culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. Author of more than 80 publications, supported by the NIH and NSF, and recipient of awards at Fordham and far beyond for her research, teaching, and contributions to her field, distinguished alumna of Pepperdine University, and much decorated fellow of the American Psychological Association and the National Academy of Neuropsychology. She is also a surfer, a mom of two, and as we've seen, is eminently tweetable. Please welcome Dr. Monica Rivera Mint of the Department of Psychology.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. So, good afternoon. All right. Buenas tardes. Okay, bueno, SOS. Welcome and bienvenidos. Over the last 2 years, we have navigated unprecedented, sometimes dark, and truly historic times. But today we come together with the joy and pride in our hearts as a Fordham familia to celebrate and congratulate you, the graduates, the families, and friends of the GSAS class of 2022. Woo! Let's go! That's right. Thank you to Dr. Hornbeck and to the university for having me here. What a thrill it is for me to be celebrating with all of you today, in this space, at this time. Look at you. You're sitting there, so excited, so proud, so full of hope. It's awe-inspiring. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment. And in fact, I'm here today standing before you as an embodiment of the hope that you feel. You see, never in my wildest dreams, with the upbringing that I had, did I think I'd ever be giving a commencement speech at a university, let alone even attending a university. What's that? I didn't even fully speak English until the 3rd grade. And most of that I learned on Sesame Street. So thank you, Kermit. Thank you, Miss Piggy. But today, I'm not here to give you advice. I'm sure you've heard a lot of that already. Instead, I'm going to tell you a story. Once, there was a little girl. Okay, stop. Okay, who am I kidding? You know it's me, so let's just cut to the chase. The story's about me. And I guess you could say that this is my origin story. I'm an Afro-Latinx, indigenous, cis-hetero, daughter of immigrants, a Puerto Rican evangelical minister, and a Colombian food server. I was born and raised in and east of Los Angeles. My mother raised us with her second-year education, no English, and no papers. But she had a ferocious work ethic, and I mean ferocious. Little woman, very ferocious. And we were not always stably housed. In fact, we moved so much while I was growing up that I went to eight schools by the time I graduated from high school. We were so food insecure at times that had it not been for our local church, we would have missed many meals and a few Thanksgivings. And for many years, we did not have health insurance, even though my mom worked full-time and then some. Our primary care was the ER, where I typically served as the interpreter. We were also a multiracial, single-parent, Latinx household when that was not so common, especially in Southern California. In some ways, it was like growing up on an island, a minority within an already minoritized population. So, this is my reality as I walk to school on my first day of the 4th grade at my latest public school. Unbeknownst to me, during this walk, I would receive one question that would change the trajectory of my life forever. Okay. Time travel with me to Southern California in the early 80s, walking through a seriously dangerous neighborhood. And there I am, picture it, a chubby 4th grade little girl clutching her Fat Albert lunch pail in her favorite plaid dress with braids and little rose barrettes. I'm scared as I'm walking those few blocks to yet another new school. And as I almost make it to the school, a tough-looking at least, Chicanx girl, we'll call her Gloria, comes up to me and starts menacingly following me. She's completely mad-dogging me, for those of you who know what that means, and then she stops me. I think I'm about to be jumped. This is my worst nightmare. Oh my gosh, my mom's worst nightmare too. Instead, she looks at me suspiciously, and this is what she asked me. Okay, time out. This is a trigger warning. I'm about to quote to you a racial slur directed to me and other Latinx people on the West Coast, at least back in the day. Please tune out if you don't want to hear this, okay? Tune out. This is your time, those who are watching this online. Okay, time in. And then Gloria asked me one of the most perplexing questions I've ever heard. What are you? Are you a beaner or are you a surfer? Okay, now let me say this one more time with feeling. What are you? Are you a beaner or are you a surfer? What, gay? I had no clue. First of all, we did eat a lot of beans and rice, but I didn't personally identify with beans. In fact, I wished with all of my heart that we could eat white bread and drink Coca-Cola. But instead, my mom would always remind us, worse is nothing, in this Colombian way. And she would always remind us that we get what we get. And I got that lesson loud and clear. Gracias, Mami. Second of all, we were over 1 hour from the beach. In fact, the beach is where all the rich, non-Latinx white kids lived. No, I definitely was not a surfer. Of course, what I didn't understand then was that this Chicanx girl, Gloria, it was her way to ask about my cultural identity. Was I down with Latinx culture, or had I sold out in the 4th grade to US American culture? I would go on to hear that question, what are you? Many times, many times. But this is the first time I heard this question, and this question got my wheels turning and helped me to explicitly understand that, for a variety of reasons, I didn't quite fit in. It turns out that I never have, and that's okay. And maybe you can somehow relate to this sense of not fitting in too. Perhaps it's something on the outside that others can see or hear. Your gender identity, maybe it's your different abilities, maybe it's your language, or perhaps it's something or some pain on the inside that others can't necessarily see or hear. Your sexual orientation, your socioeconomic background, your trauma history. Whatever the case, it turns out that your lived experience is important, and it's valid data. I'm a scientist, so believe me when I say this. Your lived experience is important and valid data. Let it inform you, your work, and your life. And for me, that's kind of what happened. Thanks to the healing elixir of my family, my friends, my public school teachers, my selfless mentors, my colleagues, you know who you are out there, and a supportive partner, they helped me to translate my sometimes painful lived experiences into the courage to persist and to embrace the black-brown unicorn you see before you today. My unique experience, my unique lens, my resilience, those are my superpowers. Now remember, this is an origin story. These are my superpowers, my unique experience, my lens, and my resilience. Those people in my life also helped me to have the courage to persist and to forge my own singular path. This path has led me to a mission-driven life. Professionally, that mission is to advance brain health equity so that all people, regardless of their background, can have the same chance for good brain health as they age. Not only am I dedicated to doing great science in my lifetime, I aim to transform the science that I do so that it's more inclusive and valid for all of us, not just some of us. And personally, my mission is to prioritize my family by love and my family by blood, to serve my community, and to be a lifelong learner. In fact, starting in my 30s, as you've already learned, I finally learned to surf in my 30s as a lifelong learner. And let me tell you, since then, I have surfed all over Latin America, every single major part of it. And with my husband and our two beautiful sons, we've had a lot of great rides together. So to Gloria and to everyone out there, it turns out that you indeed can be an Afro-Latinx indigenous daughter of immigrants and a surfer all at the same time. Sí se puede. All things are possible. That's right. Sí se puede. All things are possible. That's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. And that's my story to you. Maybe you find some value in it, something that will aid you on your journey. But now, what about you? As we wrap up our time together, please take this moment to reflect on the experiences and the folks who led you to your path, that brought you to this space and this time. What is your unique superpower? What is your singular mission in this historic moment? Listen, never ever be afraid to just be you. You are enough. In this sometimes harsh world, please remember to be kind to yourself, to be grateful to all who brought you here, and pay that forward. As Fordham folks, we always think about the whole person. So honor that. Honor the whole person you are, and extend that kindness and compassion to all those around you. And if you do that, not only will you not lose, but we all win. And to my Fordham GSAS graduates, remember that you are our stars. Now go out there and shine so brightly that you glow in the dark. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Sí se puede. All is possible. All is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Monica Rivera-Mint. As we move to the presentation of diplomas, you are welcome to photograph your graduate from exactly where you sit right now. For COVID safety and fire safety and all the other safeties, you may not move into the aisles for photographs or anything else, please. These aisles need to remain clear during the ceremony, and we assure you that our professional photographer will take pictures of each and every graduate, and that those photos will be shared with your graduate once they are ready. Thank you so much for your cooperation and your understanding. Dean Hornbeck.
We will now recognize those students who have earned the degrees of Master of Arts and Master of Science. Although our university president, the Reverend Joseph M. McShane, has already conferred these degrees upon these graduates, we want to take a moment here in front of you, their supportive family and friends, to honor their achievement yet again. So could I ask all those who have earned the degrees of Master of Arts or Master of Science to please stand. Please join me in congratulating our graduates.
Please be seated. Now we would like to invite those loved ones who have graduated from Fordham University to present their graduate with their diploma. Diploma presenters, please step forward when your graduate's name is called and join Dean Hornbeck in congratulating these students. Olivia Madeline Higgins. Olivia's diploma will be presented by her mother, Elizabeth Higgins, Fordham College, Rose Hill, class of 1987. George Vallejo. George's diploma will be presented by his sister, Vivian Vallejo, Graduate School of Social Service, class of 2020. Christopher Michael Tallarico. Christopher's diploma will be presented by his father, Anthony G. Tallarico, Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, class of 1977. Cariana Willett. Cariana's diploma will be presented by her grandfather, Joe Molia, Fordham College, Rose Hill, class of 1971. Frandy Medina. Frandy's diploma will be presented by his sister, Genesis Medina, Gabelli School of Business, class of 2010. Aiden X. Sebesta. Aiden's diploma will be presented by his father, John Sebesta, Fordham College, Rose Hill, class of 1990. Ryan A. McSherry. Ryan's diploma will be presented by his father, Professor Michael McSherry, Senior Lecturer at the Gabelli School of Business and class of 1978, Gabelli School of Business. We will now recognize the master's candidates individually. Please come forward to be congratulated by Dean Hornbeck as your name is announced. We ask that you hold your applause until all the names of master's degree recipients have been called. Please continue to remain in your seats and keep the aisles clear. Christine Alyssa Lim. Victor Michael Imperato II. Kira Jasmine Finn. Ellie Elizabeth Bauer. Naya Alexis Hutchinson. Erica K. Messina. Monet Nicole Clark. Rachel A. Caldwell. Alexandra Nicole Jarek. Catherine Zarowski. Hannah Alicia Barnes. Joseph DeRocha. Jacob William Ballou. Kevin M. Deneen. Benjamin Ogbunuko. Yadira Y. Hayen Gonzalez. Ashley C. Samuel. Sienna Shantae Edwards. Riley Amanda Swart. Alexandra Lynn Dorn. Michelle Elizabeth Dema. Cami Alice Milliken Yetter. Abiodun Lawal. Yue Liu. Deepak Kumar Gunturu. Ayub Fakada Adera, Aviation Bosun Mate Equipment, 3rd Class, United States Navy veteran. Marcus A. Elaine. Gabrielle Marie Doré. Essie Esat Valbona. Sarah C. James. Anna Charlotte Mergel. Melissa Mejia Echevarria. Jorwell W. Perez. Sophia L. Jago Seidel. Robert W. Garvey. Andrew P. Gannon. Kayla L. Velez. Claire E. Biasco. Eric Matthew Juro, Advanced Certificate in Financial Econometrics and Data Analysis. Giancarlo Rafael Sanchez. Robert Kevin Creighton. Veronica Rose Andrade. Ryan R. McClarty. Chandor Eric Larange. Jermaine M. Harbaugh. Ava G. Gagliardi. Danae M. Oresser Jumard. Elka Kirsten Roderick. Elizabeth M. Cheney. Isra Selin Byram. Colin P. Bonnell. Craig Anthony Puccia. Jasmina M. Burish. May Fujia. Stephen J. Esposito. Lindsay M. Sullivan. Catherine Coleman. Victoria Despina Nictus. Ntandakazi Zimbini Makaula. Michael J. Dwyer, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Combat Wounded Veteran. James Edward Boyd, Jr. Cynthia M. Rodriguez. Catherine R. McGrath. Claire Elise Riddick. Emma J. Johnson. Ivan M. Vidal Peralta. Trevor P. Now. Matthew Salvatore Maresca. Ian M. Doherty. Samar Hani Mohammed Sabur. Kirk Kenneth Brower. Jose Bataller, Sergeant, U.S. Marine Corps veteran. Ikuzian M. Price. Major, U.S. Army Reserve. Jamie Jordan, Technical Sergeant, U.S. Air Force, retired. Alec I. Gillis, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army veteran. Nisa Binte Kabir. Vashali Sharma. Gwendolyn Chu. Xingru Mei. Matthew A. Modzelewski. Matthew Matthias. Catherine Y. Manti. Natalie M. Ng. Wenrui Mu. Katarzyna Wasilewska. Same group. Biana Uriel Krubitsky. Shungjian Zhu. Jiachun Mu. Kul Mapalwa. Chung. Shangjin Li. Safia Yasmin Edwards. Wenjung Kung. Samin Yasser. Luis Angel Rondon Rivera. Bennett Russell Hall. Benjamin C. Vecchio. Cameron S. Hooks. Ray Marie Tishio. Isabella A. Escalona. Preston Russell Foster. Kelly McGuire. Doris Elizabeth McGowan. Frederick J. Fernandez. Julia A. Sparago. Junyang Long. Xingyu Xian. Sky Julia Jimenez. Dominique A. McKenzie. Sifan Lee. Stacy Franciamore. Courtney M. Bergseeker. Catherine Grace Christ. Benjamin William Goodhart. Adiza S. Awal. Natalie M. Wright. Mia H. Weed. Amy Wong. Maria Martin Lopez. Michelle Catherine Heiner. Rebecca Washoe Kamau. Olivia S. Morgan. Kristen Sindet. Sophia Elizabeth Fredo. Ryan Paul Donovan. Luis E. San Lucas Hurtado. Douglas Mensa. Manish Singh, Specialist, U.S. Army veteran. Bridget Veronica Claflin. Jasmine M. Cosby. William H. Smith. Jaydeep Singh. Joseph Atta Yeboam. Catherine F. Canny. Tracy Singh. Kristen Kazanjian. Jenna S. Harrelson. Nam P. Nguyen. Orion Levitt. Helen P. Fabre. Pamela Manessis. Kiana Alexandra Ramos. Isabel Alexis Garcia. Tongshen Chen. Courtney M. King. Yuta Hagiwara. Estefania Serrano. Taylor E. Termine. Naya A. Ferdinand. Bija L. Pierre. Elena Calvo. Please join me in congratulating these graduates with the music.
Congratulations again to our master's candidates. We will now recognize students who have received the highest degree the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences confers, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. The tradition of doctoral hooding is a special moment to recognize those who have earned the PhD. Each student's faculty mentor here will ceremonially place the doctoral hood over the graduate's head, signifying success in completing the degree and welcoming the candidate into the community of scholars. For the Doctor of Philosophy degree, the hood's velvet border, whose traditional dark blue color represents the discipline of philosophy, is used today to represent the mastery of any discipline of learning and scholarship in which the PhD degree is awarded. The interior lining of the hood displays maroon, Fordham's color. The graduates' names will be called by Dean Lehman. As your name is called, please come forward to receive your diploma and be hooded. To our guests, we ask that you hold your applause until all the names have been called.
Evan Emile Joseph Auguste, Maafa and Youth, examining the associations between interpersonal racism, racial identity, and mental health problems for Black male adolescents, mentored by Dr. Keith Cruz and Dr. Tiffany Yip. Kara Lena Crook, The relationship between cannabis use, neurocognition, and medication adherence in a sample of Latinx and non-Latinx white people living with HIV, mentored by Dr. Monica Rivera-Mint. Deborah M. Lehman, Psychosocial Developmental Trajectory Profiles and Psychiatric Hospitalization Among Transition-Age Youth Receiving Mental Health Services, mentored by Dr. Celia Fisher. Aaliyah Leora Gray, Social Determinants of HPV Vaccination Intentions Among Black Mothers with Young Daughters, mentored by Dr. Celia Fisher. Edward Durnell Dunar, Recognizing Race in an Ecclesiology of the Built Environment, mentored by Dr. Bradford Hinsey. Deacon Antonios Bebawi, Christ has paid the penalty for us, the transmission and effects of the sin in the garden and its atonement according to Cyril of Alexandria and some Eastern contemporaries, mentored by Dr. Joseph T. Leanhart, Society of Jesus. Hannah Marie DeRue, a contemporary evaluation of Thomas Aquinas' philosophy of promising, mentored by Father Christopher Cullen of the Society of Jesus. Eric Isaac Kagan Ricklin, examining the role of resilience and grit on the functioning of youth with chronic medical conditions, mentored by Dr. Rachel Annunziato. Gwen M. Daugs, Power and the Intersection of Gender and Sexual Oppression, mentored by Dr. Samir Haddad and Dr. Shiloh Whitney. R. Maxwell Racine, Narrative, Receptivity, and Understanding Others, mentored by Dr. John Davenport. Samantha E. Sagui, Law, Order, and the Development of Urban Policing Functions in Late Medieval England, mentored by Dr. Marianne Kowaleski. Rachel Marie Kittles Pod, Health in Late Medieval England, the Impact of Age, Sex, and Income on the Lived Experience, mentored by Dr. Marianne Kowaleski. Valentinas Ruiz, Essays on Employment, Job Search, and Retirement, mentored by Dr. Johanna Francis. Mitali Pradhan, Essays on Trade, Infrastructure, and Development, mentored by Dr. Suba Mani. Yizhu Zhang, The Effect of Task-Relevant Diversity on Small Group Performance, mentored by Dr. David Badescu. Sarah Elizabeth O'Brien, Transforming Mankind, Genres of Collectivism in Late Medieval Literature, mentored by Dr. Jocelyn Vaughan Brown. Cathal Patrick Pratt, Under the Southern Cross, The Story of Irish Argentine Literature, mentored by Dr. Carrie Walsh. Angela Ann Fury, Senior Airman, U.S. Air Force veteran, Power and Intersubjectivity in Renaissance Rhetoric, mentored by Dr. Heather Dubrow and Dr. Courtney McElhaney. Please join me in congratulating all the recipients of doctoral degrees today.
After a day of so much celebration, there are so many who need to be thanked and many who need to be congratulated. So before I address our graduating class of 2022, please let me single out a few of those without whose help today's ceremony could not have been possible. First of all, I want to thank our faculty marshals. I want to thank our GSAS staff members and volunteers, students, colleagues, even those who returned from afar to help us celebrate this graduating class. Please join me in thanking them for their service. I know I was deeply moved and so honored to be a colleague of Dr. Monica Rivera-Mintz. And Dr. Rivera-Mint, for your insight and your honesty and your compassion, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we have a small token of appreciation for you. So if I may, thank you. What Dr. Rivera-Mint will find inside her box is a crystal owl, and owls will figure prominently in the next 5 minutes, but I'll come back to that in just a moment. I want to thank in particular our Master of Ceremonies and my fantastic Interim Associate Dean, Dr. Sarah Lehman. Thank you so much, Sarah. And last of all, on a personal note, I want to thank my husband and my in-laws who are here today, without whom none of this could have been possible. Thank you. So the second to last time I was in this church, it was for the memorial service for my late predecessor, Dr. Tyler Stovall. And as many of you know, and many of our guests may have heard, we lost Dr. Stovall, the previous dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, far too soon. We had barely gotten to know him as an outstanding scholar of race and history in the American and French experience. And we'd only begun to befriend him as a colleague and a peer who supported students and his fellow faculty members in every way that he could. But during that memorial service at this pulpit, Dr. Stovall's cousin Jack told a story that I, with his permission, want to relate to you. Because it turns out that when Dr. Stovall was 14, he had a pet owl. And this pet owl, I'm quoting directly from Jack here, liked to eat two things: liver and the fingers that fed him liver. And apparently no one else in the Stovall family was willing to get anywhere near this bird, but Tyler, later to be Dean Stovall, every day went and put that liver into the cage, even when the bird nipped him on his fingers. I was listening to Tyler's cousin give this talk with the banner of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences standing directly behind him. And I thought, what coincidence that Tyler, who had a pet owl, became the dean of a school whose mascot is the owl in honor of the Greek goddess Athena. And then I got to thinking about what does it mean to feed that owl even when you know it's going to bite you? And I thought that's the perfect metaphor for graduate school. Because all of us who have earned degrees and are here to celebrate those who have earned degrees know just how hard it can be to be pushing that last bit of data, to be reading that last text, to be trying to understand the newest and most complicated theory and have it feel as if it's biting us back each time. And so what we didn't know about Dean Stovall when he was with us is that this metaphor of feeding the owl is a metaphor that I hope will continue to feed all of us. Because the reason he fed that owl was because he cared for it. And the reasons that you all have achieved the phenomenal things that you have is because of your deep care, your passion, your commitment for whatever particular slice of the universe of knowledge has called out to you. And so if I could ask our graduates to look under their seats, you will find that we have offered each of you a stuffed owl. And we ask you to take it with you as a sign not only of your lifelong affiliation with the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, but as a reminder to find your owl and feed it. I want to stop myself real quickly, because there's a way in which what I've just said, could be heard to denote a kind of academic masochism. And I think that too is part of the experience of graduate school. One of the things I worry about as a student and a scholar and a person who tries to support other students and scholars is that so often we send this message that everything rides on that last piece of data, that everything rides on that last text, that everything rides on that last theory or getting it right or getting that final publication out. And one of the great lyricists of our time, Lin-Manuel Miranda, put it well in a recent song where he has a character sing that under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can't be of service. That's the shadow side, I think, of what all of us are called to by our Jesuit education here at Fordham. There's something about the Jesuit tradition that even invites that kind of thinking. Father McShane earlier today invoked the Ignatian Prayer to fight and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest. And as Dr. Rivera-Mint and Dr. Butts showed us, how is it in 2022 that we can't seek for rest? And so I want to invite us all not just to feed our owls, but to feed our owls strategically. To figure out what are the fights, what are the causes, what are the values for which we are willing to reach into whatever that cage might happen to be, because our love is so great, our commitment is so serious, that we're willing to take the cost that comes with it. In the language of the Jesuit tradition, this is something we often refer to as the art of discernment. And I'm certainly not here to indicate to anybody in this room where your discernments should take you. But our discernments are driven so much more often than anything else by our values. And what I would like to leave you with is a statement, a poem really, by an Anglican priest friend of mine, the Reverend Dr. Emma Percy. And she wrote this poem entitled Another Economy. And it proposes a way of thinking about values and life and work that has stuck with me ever since I read it. So Dr. Percy writes, I have found that there is a different economy, whose currency is love and kindness, faithfulness and prayer, generosity and integrity. When these virtues are practiced, deposits are made and investments accrued. So when the world turns harsh and desolation beckons, I find that I am rich, and I can draw on this wealth, providing me with friendship and kindness, prayers and blessings, fortitude and strength. And that, class of 2022, is the hope that all of us who have had the privilege of working with you, working alongside you and learning with you, that is the message that we send you out of these doors into this world. Because we know that you have imbibed during your time here a commitment to serving the global common good. That you have found here the values and the ideals that will drive careers that we cannot even possibly imagine. And we want you to know that during your time at Fordham, you have built up here deposits and investments accrued of time and energy and support, and this community is privileged to be part of your journey, and we pledge to always be here as part of yours. Congratulations, class of 2022. Our ceremony is nearly at its end, so a few final instructions and requests. In a few minutes, the faculty and graduates will process out the center aisle, so we ask that you please do keep it clear so that we can all get to the food and drink as fast as possible. In a few minutes, the music will begin, the procession will begin to move out, and you are all welcome to join us under the tent immediately to the east of the church. Congratulations again to the graduates, their friends, loved ones, and supporters.